Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing your daily Walking Dead video for today. First topic for this one, we're going to give our thoughts on Talking Dead being extended to every weekend of the year. Of course, spoiler warning if you're not caught up for Walking Dead, and I suppose kind of Talking Dead too. So this one's pretty cool. I'll put the link in the description for you guys so you can check it out. I know a lot of you guys really like Talking Dead, so good news for you. They are going to be doing a year-long running version of Talking Dead now, which is kind of a spin-off. They're calling it Just Talking. That's it. Just Talking. So it says, Hardwick said that Talking will have the skin of Talking Dead, the soul of the Nerdist podcast, and the guts of a Comic-Con panel. I have loved learning how to do a talk show these last 6 years on Talking Dead, but am eager to expand the format into other areas of pop culture. Chris Hardwick is just the ultimate fan guide, advocate, and conversationalist. He took our desire to serve the fans of The Walking Dead with an hour of discussion and analysis following each new episode, and it turned into the #1 talk show on television, and a model that has been widely emulated but never quite duplicated because Chris is the key, said Joel Stillerman, president of original programming and development for AMC and SundanceTV. Cool stuff. So it sounds like from the article, you guys can click it through to read it through yourselves from undeadwalking.com. I'll link to it in the description. So basically, this is what it is, right? So they were doing Walking Dead, which is 16 weekends a year, and they also sometimes will do like extras here and there, where they'll do like one during the break or whatever, where they show some kind of new sneak peek or something on a Sunday. So sometimes they'll have like an extra here or there, right? And then, of course, they had Fear the Walking Dead, which now we know is 16 episodes as well. So that's 16, 16, 32, and then an extra is like 33 or 34, somewhere around there, depending on how many extras they do each year. Each season, I think, is a little bit different. And so you have 32, 33, 34, somewhere around there, weeks out of the year, where you have Talking Dead. So now what they're going to be doing, it sounds like, is they're going to be going all throughout the whole year, every Sunday, and they're going to have, Talking Dead, but it's not always going to be talking about Walking Dead. Some weekends it'll probably be like they did a Talking Bad, I believe, once when Breaking Bad was coming to an end. Talking Saul, I think they've done a few episodes like that. And, I'm assuming AMC will use this opportunity to promote some of their other shows, like maybe Into the Badlands or possibly Humans. I know they've been promoting that one quite a bit. And to me, that kind of sounds like what they're going to try to do with it, is they're going to use it as kind of like, almost like a more, the same thing they do with Talking Dead, but with other series as well too, and then elements mixed in there of pop culture to, comic culture, pop culture, to fill out the hour, basically, to fill it out and have different guests and things like that in the show. So it sounds pretty cool. I don't think it'd be that hard for them to do. Really, all they're doing is kind of expanding what they already have, which is a format where, it's not too hard for them to fill it out. 42 minutes, you have like three guests come in each time, reputable people, usually from different shows, like Better Call Saul is probably a good example of one. We'll probably see at least a few episodes with Better Call Saul discussions, maybe for like the premiere and finale or things like that. And then maybe they mix it up a bit. They have Kevin Smith come on a few times, that kind of deal, and promote some of their other series or talk about movies and things like that. I think I once checked out the Nerdist podcast, because they have Nerdist has a YouTube channel as well too, I think, and I've gone through it, but it didn't really have a hook for me. It didn't really have anything. Sometimes they had interviews with Robert Kirkman on, stuff like that, which is wicked cool and just cool to listen to, because you get some kind of inside info on how The Walking Dead, the nuts and bolts of it, and created and all that kind of stuff that he, of course, went through the process of creating it. So that's cool, and they have some good stuff on Nerdist, so you guys can check it out if you want. You can find on Google, just type in Nerdist and you can find their podcast. But I personally don't listen to it with regards to Talking Dead. I do watch it especially if they have some good ones where they'll let us know some more information about the episodes. But usually what I do is I watch the episode, I do my videos with you guys right away, as I've always done. done, and then after that, if I get a chance that week, I'll watch Talking Dead. But it's not priority for me. DVR it, watch it later, whatever. It's not like, have to watch it right away. But sometimes there's some good stuff in it where they can explain certain things about the characters in that and give you a little bit more about the show, or some things that you might have missed, or stuff that just give you a little bit of an add-on. So pretty cool. I'm a decent fan of Talking Dead. So you guys can write your comments below. Let me know what you think about the Talking extension. I probably won't be watching too many of them unless they're related to Walking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead, or maybe Better Call Saul, because that's another one of my favorite shows. Either the Badlands, other shows like that. Humans, they're pretty good, but I don't know if I'd be too interested in checking those out. So let me know what you guys think. You can write your comments below. And they do have a new Walking Dead Monopoly game, which actually looks really cool. That's coming out. I'll put the link in the description so you guys can check it out. It's got the TV series versions, because they've done a comic book series version before. This is from USA-opoly, but this one just looks really cool. So I'll put the link in the description. You guys can check it out as well too. Looks like it's about $40, and you've got the Sanctuary's location in there, and it looks like some of the other spots. You've got Lucille and stuff. So the Monopoly pieces are like different weapons. So you got Lucille, the hat, you got crossbow and the Colt and the machete. So it's pretty cool. And another was a zombie. So check that as well in the description. So, next one will be from Ryan O'Sullivan, who says, Trev, what do you think of the possibility of Daryl and Sherry getting into a relationship? This could push Dwight over the edge and cause him and Daryl to have their 1-versus-1 fight, where you may get your wish of Daryl killing Dwight. I would love it if they did that, of course, because it's kind of my wish, right? I would really like to see that. And, I feel like we're in need of some remixes and stuff like that from the comics, because they've been following a lot of it really, really closely the last couple of years, and sometimes I like it when they mix things up, and I would like to see them kill Dwight off. To be honest with you, I'd like to see that in favor of Daryl for sure. I mean, if you have to choose between them, definitely go that way. I would like to see a relationship between Daryl and Sherry as well. I think it could make sense, and because she thinks of Daryl as very similar to how Dwight used to be before all of this happened. So you could see why she might have a soft spot for Daryl, in that they're very similar. Daryl and Dwight were very similar, especially prior. Maybe Daryl reminds her more of her husband than the man that she sees currently. So that would be cool to see. I'd like to see that for sure. The Walking Dead Freak says, another Q&A for you, Trev. As we wrap up season 7 in the next few weeks, do you feel the characters like Enid and Heath, who have been kind of left in the background, will be brought forward and play a big role toward the later parts of Season 7 and early Season 8 in preparing for the big war? So, of course, with the amount of characters we have in the show now, there's just so many, and there's so many different communities and everything, it gets a bit diluted for sure, because you have just so much going on, so many different spots, locations, and everything. It's hard to keep up with everybody. In yesterday's Q&A, we were discussing how Maggie has barely been in the season since the first half. I mean, this half she hasn't been in it really almost at all. Has she been in it at all? I'm trying to think any scenes with her. I can't really, a little bit near the first first episode of the second half, but she's barely been in the show, really, if you think about it. Same with Sasha for a while now. So Heath's probably not going to come back for a long time. He probably won't be. Enid, I could see them using her a little bit, but I just don't know what role could she play in war. It's just not. I wouldn't like to see her trying to mix it up and get into the war and start shooting guys and stuff like that. I don't know. It would just be really weird to see her do that. It worked for Lizzie, but that's because Lizzie was fucking crazy. So it worked for her during the prison attack. But could it work for Enid? Enid seems more centered to me, so she's not crazy enough. It wouldn't work for her. Seeker22000 says, Negan is hurting the ratings. He's got to go. This was the second worst episode in terms of ratings this season, and the lowest since Season 3, Episode 7. And you can't blame the Oscars, because every other episode aired during the Oscars got really great ratings. And then he lists all the others and how they had better ratings than this one. This episode, by the way, got 10.42 million views. Don't get me wrong, 10 million viewers is nothing to scoff at. That's a ratings juggernaut still, but when you compare it to the past seasons, it's a huge drop. The show is bleeding viewers because the general viewing audience can't stand Negan. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with you here. So your theory is you think that Negan is the cause of the drop in ratings, and that people really don't like to see a bad guy at the forefront. I don't think so. I personally don't think Negan is responsible for the ratings drop at all. I think maybe the bottle episodes are more responsible for the ratings drop than anything else. I mean, when you see, and also how disjointed it is with all the different groups, all the different characters, is pretty difficult for your casual viewers to follow, because they're used to saying, okay, we're going to watch Walking Dead. They sit down, they get their popcorn, whatever, they eat their dinner, whatever, when they're watching it, or eat after, or watch after dinner. They're used to seeing Rick. They're used to seeing, these characters. And yes, even though certain characters do get killed off, they're primarily used to seeing certain ones. And this season, they've really mixed things up to where Eugene is the carry for that whole episode in terms of like a good guy character. He's basically the carry. You have Dwight, who almost nobody likes. You have Negan, who can be funny, but in that one he's really scary and kind of a more fearsome type villain, because someone's going to get the iron, someone's going to get hurt. And you're left with Eugene to carry a whole episode. Eugene is generally, I would say, a support character. I don't think he can carry the episode all by himself, and apparently he couldn't. The viewers didn't stick around to watch it all the way through. 10 million is down. That is a decline. You can't ignore it. So something obviously caused that. I would say it's mainly following characters like Dwight, where, are we just going to forget that Dwight killed Denise at the end of last season? Or are we going to forget that he, has bested Daryl? And people are not, like, the audience, unless you're a comic book viewer and you want the TV series version of Dwight to be your version, the comic book series version, the TV series version to be that comic version, you're looking for that. Regular TV casual viewers are going to view Dwight as like this jerk, right, who shot Daryl and did all this stuff and kind of was just being is really not a good guy, right? It's going to be tough to humanize him. It's going to be really, really tough to say he's not really that bad, even though he's done all this stuff up until now and all that. And for people to sympathize with him. They're mainly not going to. So you can have some screen time with him, but you probably don't want him to be there all the way through. It's kind of like, okay, in season 4, when they did the governor stuff. I loved it, by the way, because I really wanted to see what happened with the governor and couldn't wait to see that build-up. But when they did the episodes with the governor, a lot of people were complaining because they didn't want to see that. They didn't really want to see the governor get his own time and his own episodes and rebuild his own group and then have it attack like that in that fashion. So this is the downside of when you bottle off a certain section to do an episode that way. It does save you some cash because you only have to pay the people in that location and the actors involved in that episode. But at the same time, you could hurt the ratings. You could lose people because a lot of viewers don't want to see Dwight. They don't want to see the governor. Do they really want to see Negan? He did bash Glenn's and Abraham's head in, and they might not be so forgiving of that. They don't know the comic book storyline and how awesome Negan is and how funny he can be later, even though they've seen some comedy with him and this kind of stuff so far. So obviously something's going on, that's for sure, and it's not great for the show, but maybe they can find a way to kind of reduce the bottling and spread out the story more rather than do kind of the current flow. But we can't ignore that stuff. It's kind of proof or evidence that whatever they're doing in that episode with a lower rating isn't really working. It isn't keeping people entertained, and that's the name of the game. And if you lose all your ratings, you lose your show. That's you lose your shirt. That's it. Krista's Garden, you guys can write your comments below. Let me know what you think was the cause of the drop in ratings for the episode. It's not that far below some of the prior ones we've had, though, but it's something. It's something to look at. Krista's Garden says, "Hey, Trev, check out this interview below with Austin Emilio, who plays Dwight from The Walking Dead. The interview is mostly about the episode that we watched on Sunday." So I went through, for Krista, I went through this one. I looked through it, and it's kind of similar to with Talking Dead. And this is something I didn't like about Talking Dead. There's a lot of things in that episode with Dwight that you can read it a couple different ways. It would have been good in Talking Dead, and I watched it because he briefly kind of commented. He doesn't really go into it. I would have liked to have seen them giving him maybe 5 or 10 minutes of that episode to just have him explain everything that's going on with Dwight and go through all the details about why he chose to do what he did, about throwing the doctor under the bus and everything. I know he briefly touches on this interview and also in Talking Dead, but he didn't really go through it in detail, which I would like to see, because a lot of it's pretty muddled and it's pretty hard to tell what Dwight's motivations are and why he does what he does in that episode. So this interview, it's okay. You know, I'm not going to reference anything in particular, but you guys can read it if you want to. You can go through it. It's all right, but it doesn't give us 100% visibility of or clarity around why Dwight does that to the Doctor. Maybe because, you know, and I've heard this as kind of the predominant opinion right now, that if he didn't do that, he probably would have been the one getting the other half of his face ironed. So it's kind of like displacement. He wanted to put the blame on him and, throw him under the bus, so he got it instead of Dwight getting it himself. So, that's what it is. This last one will be from Travesty Mo says, Q&A Trev, do you think The Walking Dead could do something like Game of Thrones where every episode has a bunch of character plot lines develop a little at a time instead of having these bottle-off episodes? I think for next season, that's what they should do. I know it might be a bit extra. I know it might cost a little bit more, but I think that's what they need to do with the show. I think if you look at the ratings and you just look at the way things are going, that's probably what they are going to want to do, is mix it up a bit more. They can have some bottle episodes. Flashback episodes are a good example. Here's Not Here with Morgan and episodes like that. Those can do pretty well, and they don't hurt the ratings too much, or things don't go too bad with them. But yeah, I think they need to mix it up a little bit. I think they need to add in a little bit more from each character and have each character involved in something. Just be a little bit, maybe minimize a little bit certain things that are going on, and rather than focusing all on the sanctuary when I don't know if there was really enough story there for us to focus a whole episode on. We'll see what amounts from episode 11. It's not a terrible episode by any means. It's still pretty good. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Write your comments below. How do you feel about the ratings, and what's your opinion on what was the cause for that? And what do you think could be done about it to help the show so that those type of things don't happen? Do you think it's the bottling like I do, or do you think it's maybe just them stretching out the season too much filler this season, not getting on with the story? I don't know. Write the comments below. Let me know what you guys think, and also don't take offense. Again, we're just speculating here. We're just giving our thoughts, giving our opinions on what people are thinking. So, also, of course, for the Talking Dead spinoff, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like this video today, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe, click the subscribe button at the bottom left. That's it for this one. See you guys again soon. It's Trev saying peace. Later, guys. See ya.
You better subscribe.